but we are all going to get through this together. All right, so please keep in mind, I'm the only person doing this training, so it does make it more challenging to answer chat questions as we go. If you have any questions after the training, please email me and I will try to answer them as soon as I can. It is super, super easy. If you've used Remind before, since they pushed out the merge with Clever, I'm going to show you how to get in that way, and then it will ask you to merge classes. If you've never used Remind before, then you don't have to do the merging piece. All right, so here we go. All right, so if you have, we will not be going in between screens, but sometimes it's easier to not have full screen. In case you need to see the chat, you can just go into the top part and change that setting. I usually would do these presentations in the present screen, but it's been freezing up on me when I do that, so I am going to not enable that feature, so you're going to see the sidebar here, okay? So before we get started, if you looked at the prereqs for this training, you were asked to put the app on your phone. The only purpose of doing that today is just so I can invite you to a training class, and then I will send you a message, and then it will show you what it looks like on the student or the parent end. So that's the only reason. I'm going to be going over the web-based version today. It's very similar to the app, but since I'm doing this virtually, it just made more sense to show you the web-based version. Again, I will reiterate that Alawite County Schools has linked Remind with your Clever account. So we will go through that process. Keep in mind, however, mine's going to look a little different than what you're going to see if you've never had a Remind account, because I've already merged my class with it. So I'm just going to have to talk you through that part, and then I have step-by-step instructions as well. So if you have not downloaded the app, I will get you to do that, and then we will get started. Make sure your chat feature is opened in Zoom for a link to the content of the presentation. I will actually do that right now. Hopefully everyone has joined. This is also on that prereq page and the training page. So let me get out of here, go to the chat, and I'm going to put the link to the presentation here. Okay, so there you go. If you want to access it, you can certainly do that now, or you can just kind of follow along with me. All right. I have enabled the participants tab, so sometimes I might ask for a thumbs up if you're good, thumbs down if you're not. Unfortunately, this is a really quick training, so it's a basic overview. It's really one of those technologies that you're going to have to just get in and play with, but I'm going to go over the main features of it. So Remind is a communication platform. It allows us to reach students and parents wherever they are. It can send messages to students through the platform via text message, or you can have it set up to send through email or both. It makes your day more productive. It allows for real-time messaging. So it kind of mimics a texting feature, but you're not giving out your cell phone number. So that's the great thing about it. Another great thing about it is you can schedule messages or reminders. So say, for instance, you are wanting to remind your students that they have a project due on Friday, and you don't want to forget to tell them the day before to remind them that it's due, then you can go in and you can set up reminders on a schedule so that it would send it out to students and parents at a certain time. It can be sent from your phone. It can also be sent through the web-based version. It gets every family involved. The great thing is it will also translate. So if you have a parent that does not have a high level of English speaking skills, you can construct the message and then you can translate it and then send. It also allows you to send to groups, or you can send individual messages as needed. Parent communication, as we all know, is going to be extra crucial this year because we're not starting out with face-to-face instruction for all of you. Some of you are, some of you are not, but either way, it's a great tool. I used it in the classroom and it was a lifesaver. All right, so again, we're moving pretty quickly through. If you have questions, please reach out to me. We're gonna start. I'm gonna talk about some features, and then I'm gonna actually get into my Remind account and show you how the process works. So with this, you can see who's joining your class in real time. Now, with the Clever integration, they have already used PowerSchool to push out a link with your classes. So as I said at the beginning, if you use Remind before, when you go in, we're just encouraging everyone to link through Clever, which is a single sign-on. That's all that is. And then you will see your classes already set up. So you don't even have to send your students a code or invite them by email now because PowerSchool linked them. All right, what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna have you join my training class, and this is just a quick way to see what messages will look like. So you're gonna see me looking at my phone. So you're gonna go, if you were in fact, if you had the app, you're actually gonna go to your text messaging. And let me get on my app. And you're going to type in 81010. And in that message, you're going to put this class code here. So you're going to do the @GF3A26. I'm going to give everybody a chance to do that. And that just shows you how you can join via code. But again, I keep repeating myself. I know you're not going to have to do that now because of the PowerSchool merge, okay? So I'm just gonna wait for a second because as you guys are doing the code on my phone, it's going to show me who's joining and who's not. All right, now I have it set up to approve request. If you do not want to do that, you do not have to do that. I think it's a good practice as a teacher because you do not want your students sharing out the code and just random people being invited in. So as we do this, I'm going to accept people in. So give me a second. All right, while I'm waiting for folks to get in, I did have an email this morning. I had a question about can you guys use it for parent communication and student, because somehow a rumor got put out there that you could not use for student communication, and I just got that approved through Kale that yes, in fact, that is the whole purpose. It's for student and for parent communication. So if you hear that rumor flying around, would you please just say that in the training today that it is going to be allowed for students and for parent communication. And again, I'm letting people in, so I apologize. I'm gonna do this quickly. If you don't want the approval process, say you have new students, you can take it off in settings. Okay, still letting people in. Hopefully we are winding down. Okay, so I'm going to move on with the training. So with this, I have accepted everyone that sent me the code or that put the code in. I'm just going to have an announcement. So when I go to my app, I'm going to go straight in and I'm going to choose everyone. And then I'm just going to say, hey, how are you? And then if you were part of this class now, bear with me, my computer is hacking. All right, so I just sent it. So you should get a message from me via your phone app. Okay, so again, I'm focusing on the features of the web base, but I did want to show you how it worked on the phone. And I'm still getting people in. Hold on, guys. Approve, approve. Okay, all right, so here we go. We're going to move on to the features. So in Remind, this is how you're going to get to your Remind account now that they've merged it. You are actually going to go and you're going to sign in to clever.com. You will go up here and you will log in as a teacher. Click here. As I said, single sign-on, so you can click if you have to add your school. I'm going to log in as a teacher so I can show you similar to what you will see. Remember, I do not have set PowerSchool classes, so it's going to look a little different from my view. Okay, so your classes will be listed up here, and then you're going to go find Remind. It was on the very bottom. I'm thinking they may have moved it to the top, but it is in the platform. So this is what Remind will look like, and now I'm going to show you some of the features. Okay, so for the instructional, for the training practice here, you can see all of these folks that were part of the class. And then I'm going to send you another message from the web-based version. And this is how you send a message. So you could say you're having a test, whatever you want to announce to your families. I'm just going to say welcome to training. Now, if I wanted to insert something that went with it, so say I want to insert a Google Drive paper, Google Slideshow, anything that you want to include, you can do it straight from here as well. Small down here, let's see. I'm just gonna send you something random. So this would include the document that I'm sending, and when I click send, it's obviously gonna go out to all of you if you signed up with the app, but it will also go in your web-based version as well, okay? All right, so let's look at some of the other features. Starting up here to the left, this is where you're gonna have your account settings. You can change your name because remember, this is all pushed out from PowerSchool now. So you can make some changes here. I would not change password because with it being merged with Clever, you're going to use the same email and password that you have through the school. So that's really the easiest place to, or easiest way to keep it less confusing. And that's pretty much it here. This is my school, so pushed out through PowerSchool, it should already be linked, or it may, if I remember correctly, it may ask you which school when you're signing up through Clever. You have to accept the terms for it to work for you, obviously. Okay, so with your profile, you can add your picture. If you want to use a Bitmoji, that will work there as well, anything that you'd like to use. For your notification preferences, this is where you decide where you want your reminder messages from parents to come. So if you want to put it on your cell phone, mine's already linked here to a phone. I have it connected to my email as well. Here you can add a device if you wanted it added to your iPad. Okay, here is completely optional, you know, whether or not you want people to be able to reply to you. I don't know why you wouldn't, but this is where you would choose that. This is a great feature here because, like I said, it mimics a text, like it mimics texting. So if you want to set office hours, you can do that so that it will say this is out of office hours, and then they would know that you would get back with them the next day. All right, for app integrations, when I went in to create the message, you saw some sidebar options. So with these integrations, you just have to know that you have to have linked accounts with these. So Google Classroom, you already have a linked account because it's part of the G Suite, which is the classes that you took to get your Google certification. That's where you learned all about the different features of Google. Your Drive is linked. These are already linked because I have accounts with them already. These are other available integrations that I have not set up personally. If I want to do that, then you can obviously go here to connect them. These are optional. It totally depends on what you want to include in your Remind sessions. Okay, so message history, this is great because you can go into message history and you can export. Say you had a parent that you had a conversation with via Remind and you needed to print that out for proof that you had conversations with this parent about upcoming tests. Even upcoming tests, if you had conversations with a student and they tried to say they didn't know, something like that, you can export these conversations that you have. So you can do all classes, you can just go in and choose a class. I only have 2 classes set up right now, my instructional coach one and then the training practice that we're doing now. This is where you can get an email link to all of your data on Remind. Okay, so it's lots of great features. Archive classes just simply means that these are classes that you no longer use. You do just archive them, but you can reuse the code. If you have users, hopefully this will not be something you have to deal with, where you have to block them. This is where you would see who you have blocked. Okay, so moving back, and let's go to this section. All right, files are things that it shows what you have sent. So this shows that I just sent you guys a copy of the virtual lesson plan. Okay, this obviously shows the people that are in the class. We have 25 people that joined this class. I have a pending request that came in a little bit later, so I'm going to approve that person. And that's where you do it. You do it on the side. But these are all set up. If you don't want to have to approve requests, then you just unclick it in the settings, and we're going to go look at settings right now. All right, so with PowerSchool, it automatically pushed out and merged your classes. All of your classes have already generated a code when you go into Clever. Okay, so you will not have to do that part. This is where you set your class settings. Class visibility simply means this class will appear in class search and on your profile. This is what you would click or unclick if you want to require approval. Just a simple click of the square. Here are some options for you based on your personal preference. Choose how participants see and message others in the class. So if you want all participants to message each other, then you would click on. I wouldn't want that for my students because I wouldn't want them to be able to do that between each other with this platform. They would probably be able to do that via their own smartphones or regular phones. Role-based, you can decide here. Students can only message students or parents can only message parents. So that's a personal preference. I have it clicked to off. Participants can only message the class owner, okay, and can't see others in the class. You have to click this to be able to use Remind. If you are a lower school teacher below 13, if you teach younger students, then you will have to get parental permission. Now, Alawite County has implemented emails for children younger than 13. Due to the virtual learning. Class owners can see and message to class participants. Once somebody becomes a class owner, they cannot be removed. All right, so this is for if you want to have another person that is part of your class. So if you're a gen ed teacher and you would like your SPED teacher to be a part of the Remind classroom where she or he can also send messages, then this is where you would add that person. And then we've already talked about archiving and removing the class. Okay. All right, so that is basically the gist of it. It is a very simple technology to use. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint, and I'm just going to go through the rest of these slides just to make sure that I covered everything, because it's easier for me just to go in and show you. I told you this was actually as of, I had to change my training. It was as of Thursday night, technology merge classes. So basic directions for you, and you can refer back to this after the training if you need to. You will just go to a new tab, you will go to clever.com, and it will prompt you through the screen directions. If you have an existing account already, you will be asked to merge. So basically what it's going to do, it will ask you to put your cell phone in, and then it will give you a code. And once you confirm that it's you, then it will merge your classes if you had Remind before. If you did not, then you're just going to start fresh. Once this process is complete, then you should see your courses. Okay, so I'm just going through these slides to make sure that I didn't forget to show you something, and then the training will pretty much be wrapped up. We talked about setting office hours. I already told you that you could message an entire class, or you can message individual students or individual parents. You can turn off replies when you're done, and that's just in the settings. I did tell you about scheduling. That's just when you go to a class announcement. And if I have time, I'll go back and show you that, exactly how to do that. It's very simple. We did discuss the translate feature. So let me go back and show you that one real quick. I think that's a great one to show. And again, I'm showing you how to Remind to log in through Clever, because then it's really simple that way. Sorry, it's being slow. Okay, so with the training practice, which is the class that we're in now, that you guys joined, if I want to type a message, this is what it looks like. And I could say, hello, you have a test tomorrow. Okay, so basically right here, translate it. You choose the language that you're trying to translate to. We're just going to click Spanish, and then it translates it into the Spanish. And then you can send it. I'm going to send it to you in Spanish. And so you should have received it. So that's really good for English speaking or non-English speaking families, or students that Spanish is their second language and they may still be learning. So that's a great thing to do right there. Okay. All right, app integrations, those were the sidebar information that I was showing you. I went into Google Drive on my web-based version and I sent you the virtual lesson plan. And that, again, just make sure you have to have accounts set up with these particular technologies. It works very similar to an email or a Google Classroom type thing. You can go in and add attachments, pictures, videos, just like you would in those platforms. We talked about the export message history. This is what that looks like. It's very simple. You would just go into your settings. Frequently asked questions. Can I share Remind class with another educator? We talked about how you can add people to your class as admin, but they would have the same rights as you do. Number 2, what if students or parents don't have smartphones? This remind notification will work with any phone that can receive text messages, including prepaid phones, flip phones, and government provided phones. But also keep in mind, number 3, what if students or parents don't have a phone at all? They will be able to get messages through the computers that are being provided by Alawite County Schools as long as they have internet access. Okay. And that's pretty much it. Again, I told you if you have any questions, reach out to me via email. Please stomp out the rumor that Remind is not to be used for student communication. I'm not sure where that came from. It can be used with both parents and students. I would like for you to fill out this Google form, and I'm going to put the link in the chat now for those of you that do not have the live presentation open. Let's go up here. And I've got a lot of chat questions, and I'm going to try to get to those now since I can actually see them. But this is the link to the Google form. So you guys, if you don't have any questions, you can go ahead and grab that Google form and get that filled out, and that will show me who attended the session. In the meantime, I'm going to go in and answer some of these questions. I'm going to stop my share. All right, did everyone get the link for the form? And then I will also, does anyone need the presentation link again? Okay, so let's take a look at the questions. How are we parents being notified? Okay, so as far as parents being notified for Remind, that information should be presented in your open house sessions with your families. So we actually met this morning at Georgie Tyler and talked about that. So we're gonna have that placed into our open house information so parents will know, okay? The app, for those that came in late, it's Remind. So I basically just had you sign up for the Remind app just so I could send you a message so you could see what it looked like on the parent or student end. So we basically went over the web-based version. Yes, do it from Clever. That's what you're doing now. Clever is the one-stop shop for your single sign-on, and PowerSchool has merged with it, so your classes should already be set up now. This changed as of Thursday night. Service isn't the best on my phone. Did I let everybody in, Stella? I'm hoping everybody got in because if, okay. Hopefully everybody's in. Okay, it should not be asking for credit card information. So this is where you have to go in through Clever. You have to go into Clever, and then your email and your PowerSchool classes have already been linked there. So you should not be asked if you're going in through Clever. It's going to be a paid subscription because Alawite County Schools has already paid for it. So the good thing about the paid version and the non-paid version, if you used it last year or any other year, I don't know if you remember, but for the free version, you could only list so many characters in your message, and sometimes it was a pain because you had more to say. Now you have a lot of time, a lot of characters that you can get your point across. All right, are there any more questions? If you have one, you can just speak out, you can unmute yourself. Anything else, guys? All right, well, thank you for coming. I think you'll like it. It really, once you get used to it, and I said, again, I've got, you just log in through Clever and that should all be merged there together. All right, don't forget to do the survey or the Google Forms. I'm gonna put that in the chat one more time in case somebody didn't see it. All right, I just put it there again. You guys have a great year. I know you're overwhelmed, but you're gonna be amazing. All right, I'm gonna hang around in case there are any more questions. Monique had a question. Yes, you can add other apps, absolutely, in Clever, if that's what you're referring to. And Monique also asked, can we create general announcements for all classes? Yes, you can send it out to everyone in that class. Parents should be linked to the PowerSchool class. Anything else, guys? All right, the slideshow, I'm going to put that back in right now for anyone that needs it in case you joined late. And there you go. All right, guys, thank you. Any more questions? I'm going to end it. Have a great year.